Hey, everybody. And welcome back to For the Booze.
Everybody else has been here but you.
I know, but guess what?
You're here now.
I'm back.
For now.
I know. I leave again tomorrow.
Always gone. But this is our Halloween episode.
This is our big Halloween episode that we are going to be releasing the day before Halloween, right?
2 days.
2 days.
Maybe a day. I can't remember the exact date.
I don't either.
I don't remember. I
think it's the day before.
This is the story of a doll. Yeah. This is going to be a good one. We're not going to do our regular format, and we're not going to, this isn't going to be an effects-filled, music-filled, because honestly, this is something that's already been done to death like that.
Okay.
So we're going to have just a discussion about something that's very well known.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Very, very well known. Even if you're not a fan of the paranormal, you know this item.
100%.
This is
absolutely.
This is the one that when we thought about doing the Halloween Haunted Object series, this was kind of the catalyst.
Yep. Sure was.
The one we knew was going to be the ender. It's the most famous haunted item. It has to be in existence.
Mm-hmm.
Has to be, because this thing is so well known. They make movies about it. It travels. It goes to conventions. And it is said, like, you're not even allowed to mock this thing, or else it will ruin your life.
Yep.
And the thing we're talking about today is stored away in a museum right now that you cannot go into. It's just sitting there, and nobody's allowed to see it anymore.
That's right.
And her name is
Annabelle.
That's right. Annabelle the doll. Now, I wish we had a spooky story to read for the show. We don't. So we're going to read our own spooky story.
Well, I heard a lot of spooky stories from some new paranormal friends that I met when I was in Montana.
Sharana, Shalana.
But I wanted to give a special shout out to my new paranormal friend, Shalina.
Oh, Shalina. It's a very pretty name.
She gave me a few haunted Montana books to read, and I think we may pull some stories in the future to do, like, on locations from those
Shalina,
books.
if you're listening, I am fully expecting you to write in a story now.
Girl, I heard like 3 stories from you, and I want one. You told me you'd give me one.
If you're listening, you told Megan you would listen. So I know she has. I am fully expecting a story. You know what? I'm going to give you till next week. But thank you for giving Megan the books. I can't wait to see them. Actually, I haven't even seen them yet.
Yes, and I did meet a few other paranormal friends. When you're done with, like, the MIT training and stuff, they give you a cake at your training store. And one of my fellow manager coworkers that I was working with went to go pick up my cake, and she said, "Oh, no. I need a spooky cake because Megan is a spooky girl."
She is a spooky girl, but don't get it twisted. Cool. New friends of Megan, okay? She's also the kind of girl that will not watch a horror movie because she will cower and pretend to be asleep while she watches it.
I just don't like the way it made me feel after, and I feel like everything's with me still.
Anything paranormal, like actual paranormal investigation, she'll watch no problem. But anything cinematic, it's a no-go. I remember years ago watching Ouija. Do you remember watching that?
Yes.
And she laid on the couch behind me. I think we were pretty fresh into our relationship.
We were at my sister's house.
And she literally pretended to sleep for like 3/4 of the movie.
I did.
Garbage. But anyways, so we're getting into Annabelle, and I want to talk about it. We do have stuff written, but I want to talk about it. I want to get your reactions and stuff in real time. I don't want to wait till the end.
Okay.
I want to hear what you have to, what you have to say as we're reading it, because I've always known about Annabelle, but there are things that I don't know about Annabelle.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one major thing I didn't know about Annabelle.
Oh, okay.
And you're going to find out at the end.
Oh, well,
I mean, I didn't write this for nothing. I didn't go on the internet and look all this up for nothing.
fine.
So our story starts. I'm going to, the Raggedy Ann is a character created by American writer Johnny Gruelle that appeared in a series of books that he wrote and illustrated for young children. Raggedy Ann is a rag doll with red yarn for hair and a triangle nose. The character was created in 1915 as a doll and was introduced to the public in the 1918 book Raggedy Ann Stories. Now, when a doll was marketed with the book, the concept had a great success. Did you ever have a Raggedy Ann doll as a kid?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Great.
It was a super small, like a tiny miniature Raggedy Ann doll. I had like bigger versions, but they were like Cabbage Patch dolls, which are still kind of creepy. But
if I'm not mistaken,
I had like a mini one.
My sister, I don't think listens to this show, but I'll have to ask her. I have a very vivid memory of my sister owning a full-size original Raggedy Ann doll as a kid.
Wait, Northern sister or Southern sister?
Southern sister.
Okay, gotcha. I was like,
I am
what?
almost positive that she had this thing. I'll have to ask her.
Okay.
A sequel, Raggedy Andy Stories, 1920, introduced the character of her brother, Raggedy Andy. The exact details of the origin of the Raggedy Ann doll and related stories, which were created by Johnny Gruelle, are not specifically known, although numerous myths and legends about the doll's origins have been widely repeated. Now, Gruelle, biographer and Raggedy Ann historian Patricia Hall, which I didn't know there would be a Raggedy Ann historian. This is kind of like the dendrochronologist.
Yeah, the furniture person with the crazy occupational name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Patricia Hall notes that the dolls have, quote, found themselves at the center of several legend cycles, groups of stories that, while containing kernels of truth, are more myth than they are history. What makes this even more intriguing is the fact that Johnny Gruelle, either unwittingly or with the great sense of humor he was known for, initiated many of these legends, a number of which are continuously repeated as the factual history of Raggedy Ann and Andy. So there's no concrete evidence of Raggedy Ann and Andy.
Right.
And as we get more into this, it's really all over the place.
I feel like there's been a theme running with these objects, that there are many myths and legends that surround
that have
these
no
things.
basis in truth anywhere.
Right.
Yes, I agree.
But I could see that, I mean, specifically to Raggedy Ann dolls having a historian. I don't.
It is a pop culture icon, but
Yeah.
I would see that fit more into like a pop culture historian versus I wouldn't think of anybody
Specifically for
Raggedy Ann.
Anns.
But
Yeah.
but the thing to remember too is like I'm also thinking of this in the context of today, like 2023.
Yeah.
And even when I was a kid growing up in the 80s, Raggedy Ann was much more popular of a character than she is now.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I just learned that Raggedy Ann dolls were from like 1915 and
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
In 1918.
1920.
Like, that's...
Oh, no, that was Raggedy Andy. But still,
Yeah.
yes, I didn't know it was that
a
old.
lot older than I expected.
I thought Raggedy Ann was a character from like the 70s.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that either. It's a good point. Thank you. Now, Hall further explains that according to an oft-repeated myth, Gruelle's daughter, Marcella, brought from her grandmother's attic a faceless doll on which the artist drew a face, and that Gruelle suggested that Marcella's grandmother sew a shoe button for a missing eye. Hall says the date of this supposed occurrence is given as early as 1900 and as late as 1914, which the local variously given as suburban Indianapolis, Indiana, downtown Cleveland, Ohio, or rural Connecticut. Connecticut, keep that in mind.
Okay.
More likely, as Gruelle's wife Myrtle reported, it was her husband who retrieved a long-forgotten handmade rag doll from the attic of his parents' Indianapolis home sometime around the turn of the 20th century before the couple's daughter was born. Although the incident is unconfirmed, Myrtle Gruelle recalled, quote, "There was something he wanted from the attic. While he was rummaging around for it, he found an old rag doll his mother had made for his sister. He said then that the doll would make a good story. So this coming from his mom.
Yeah.
Good chance it's true.
Interesting.
Now, Myrtle Gruelle also indicated that her husband... Oh, I'm sorry, it's his wife. That would be really weird, but I guess they're all dead now, so it doesn't matter. Sorry. Myrtle Gruelle also indicated that her husband, not her son, quote, kept the doll in his mind until they had Marcella, their daughter. And he remembered it when he saw her play with dolls. He wrote the stories around some of the things that she did, and he used to get ideas from actually watching her play.
Interesting.
Love that.
Yeah.
Additionally, Gruelle did not create Raggedy Ann as a tribute to his daughter following her death at 13 from an infected vaccination.
Oh.
Now, Hall notes Gruelle's May 28, 1915, U.S. patent D47789 application for the design of the prototype that became the Raggedy Ann doll was already in progress around that time that Marcella fell ill. And the artist received final approval by the U.S. Patent Office on September 7th, 1915, the same month as Marcella's death.
Oh my God, I just got goosebumps.
Nonetheless, the anti-vaccination movement adopted Raggedy Ann as a symbol, though Marcella died from an infected vaccination, not from the side effects of the vaccination itself. Just want to throw it out there. I'm not giving my opinion on the matter either way. You should probably find something that is a little more in line, but that's neither here nor there.
That's really sad, though.
Part of the history.
It's
It's very sad.
I mean, the way that immunizations are now, they had to start somewhere. You know?
Well, and it was an infection. It was an infection from getting the vaccination. It wasn't something.
From the vaccination.
Yeah, it wasn't
itself,
a reaction to the vaccination, which happens today. Like
That's
it does.
so
It happens
sad.
now. It happens now. So
Ugh.
it's just something that's unavoidable. Now, Annabelle is an allegedly haunted Raggedy Ann doll, hence the history of Raggedy Ann dolls. Housed in the now closed Occult Museum of the Paranormal Investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. Annabelle was moved there after supposed hauntings in 1970. A character based on the doll is one of the antagonists that appear in the Conjuring universe. The supernatural realm, the home of ghosts, demons, and hauntings, in this realm, there exist few characters and stories that elicit such a combination of fear and recognition as Annabelle. Her name and likeness became famous through the Conjuring film series, and she has now become synonymous with tales of dark supernatural encounters. Annabelle is now almost a household name. She is most famous for her terrifying, unsettling gaze and where she resides today. I would argue to say that she is not almost a household name. She is a household name.
Absolutely.
There is not... I don't think I've ever met anybody alive who wouldn't know who Annabelle
the
is.
doll is.
Absolutely. Now, beneath the lights and cameras of Hollywood, Annabelle blurs the lines between reality and imagination. The history of the real Annabelle doll is just as strange and chilling as what you've seen in the films. The real story of the haunted Annabelle doll goes back to 1970s America. A mother purchased a vintage Raggedy Ann doll named Annabelle as a birthday gift for her daughter, Donna. Little did they know that this innocent-looking doll would soon become the source of both fascination and terror. They didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
They know now.
They found out.
Well, yeah. They found out a long time ago.
I do know this story.
Yeah,
And
you know,
I just...
if you've seen the movie, if you've watched enough paranormal stuff, you've probably heard this story.
I don't want to.
Now, Donna was a student nurse living at college with a roommate, Angie. Donna took the doll thinking nothing of it, but things began to get weird soon after. Supposedly, Annabelle started to mysteriously move around Donna's apartment when she wasn't watching it. She claimed that Annabelle even left peculiar messages on a parchment paper, even though Donna didn't have any parchment paper in her possession. Some of the messages were directed at a friend of Donna's named Lou, who absolutely hated the doll. He was the only one who could sense that there was something seriously off about it. Perplexed and concerned, Donna sought out a medium for help, and they made a chilling revelation. According to the medium, Annabelle Higgins, a young girl who tragically passed away at the age of 7 years old, was believed to possess the doll. Donna and Angie both felt very uneasy. They were caring and compassionate nursing students, so they decided to allow Annabelle to stay. However, it wasn't long before the situation took a horrifying turn. Allegedly, one day, Annabelle attacked Donna's friend Lou. This was the same friend who Annabelle directed her cryptic notes to. She attempted to strangle him, and she left what looked like claw marks across his chest. They, of course, feared for their safety. They were unable to comprehend the strange occurrences, so Donna and Lou decided to reach out to a local priest. After speaking to them about their encounters, the priest contacted paranormal investigators, dun, 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 Ed and Lorraine Warren, for assistance. I mean, they always kind of come in like the white knights of the story, you know.
They do, and they're everywhere. Their names pop up in so many different things.
All right, so just about any big case that you've ever heard of because of a movie is 90% of the time it's an Ed and Lorraine Warren thing.
Yeah.
Right, because they wrote a lot of books back over the decades. Mm-hmm. Donna and Angie, not knowing what to do and out of options, accepted the aid of the Warrens. They knew they needed some help from someone more experienced and knowledgeable about such strange and threatening circumstances. The Warrens quickly realized that the doll was not merely haunted by a ghost. They deduced that she instead harbored something much more sinister. An inhuman and malevolent spirit. A demon.
Dun, dun, dun.
The primeval. According to their assessment, the doll acted as a conduit for the demon. And its target was Donna. Sounds more like it was Lou, honestly.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
I mean,
like,
it didn't attack Donna. But
yeah.
it sounded,
Taking it out on everyone around her to get at her, maybe?
Kind of sounded like she was Donna's wingman. I don't know. Now, to address the escalating danger, the Warrens decided to perform an exorcism on the doll. Their attempts to free Annabelle from the demon's grip proved unsuccessful at first. Not wanting to keep the doll, Donna surrendered the possessed item to the Warrens, who took custody of Annabelle. They recognized the urgent need to contain its malicious influence. So they placed Annabelle in a bag and embarked on a cautious journey home. They even avoided highways to minimize the risk of any further interference from the malevolent force that would cause them harm. But even being overly cautious didn't seem to help. As they traveled back roads, the Warrens encountered a series of harrowing incidents. The car's engine malfunctioned, power steering failed, and even the brakes posed as a challenge. Fearing the demon's interference, Ed resorted to sprinkling the doll with holy water. Allegedly, this provided a temporary respite from the disturbances. This eerie episode underscored the powerful grip of the demon that had on Annabelle, and it left the Warrens acutely aware of the dark forces that they were dealing with. Don't look up like that when I'm saying demon. It freaks me out.
Sorry.
What are you looking at?
Nothing.
Did you see something?
No.
Nope. Now, after having spent some time with the doll, the Warrens realized that Annabelle's presence was too powerful to be contained within their home. They recognized the doll's capacity to evade locks and wreak havoc, and knew they needed to contain her somewhere else. So, the Warrens constructed a custom glass case that is kept under lock and key to confine Annabelle's influence. It seemed that Annabelle found herself in a new home. She was put in an exhibit in the Warrens Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. Mm-hmm. Now, all visitors to the museum were met with a chilling warning that taunting the doll was not without consequences. Numerous individuals who dared to disrespect Annabelle faced alarming fates, and many even claimed to have had near-fatal or fatal accidents shortly after leaving the Warrens' presence. Crazy.
Yeah.
Now, over time, the doll's reputation as a harbinger of misfortune grew. It instilled fear in even the most skeptical observers. Despite being encased within the secure confines of the museum, Annabelle's malevolent energy persisted. Even with the locked case, the doll managed to maintain a sense of unpredictability. They claim it would occasionally resurface in different rooms of the Warrens' home, seemingly defying any notion of the possibility of anyone thinking they could contain the demonic spirit. Sensing the doll's resurgence, the Warrens sought the assistance of a Catholic priest to perform an exorcism on Annabelle. This is exorcism number 2.
Mm-hmm.
But they underestimated the danger that they faced. In a twist of fate, the priest's brakes failed.
Oh.
This unfortunate accident resulted in a horrific car accident that totaled his car. Though he survived, it served as a grim reminder of the relentless power connected to the doll. Today, Annabelle supposedly remains within her secured case at the Warrens Occult Museum, although it closed some years ago. And that's the end of the history. I'm going to be honest. I don't want to get too into how I feel overall.
Right.
And yes, I mean, stuff happened. But in my opinion, I really thought there was more to this. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, I could see that.
I really, really thought there was more to the legend of Annabelle. Not, again, I don't want to act like, and there are a few more things that are going to be in the next half of the show. But when you hear something like Annabelle, and you see the movies, and I've heard Ed and Lorraine speak about her, and I've seen the doll, which honestly, I have to be honest, the doll looks. If you've never seen the real Annabelle, and all you've seen is the movie, it is very easy to get into your head this evil doll image.
Yes.
And Annabelle doesn't look like that.
She looks like a Raggedy Ann doll.
I mean, like a regular Raggedy Ann doll.
Yep. Like an old, plain
there's nothing
Raggedy Ann doll.
intimidating looking about this thing at all.
know.
If somebody took her out of the case and threw her in a thrift store, she would not look out of place.
No, absolutely not.
There was nothing about her in pictures. I mean, I've never seen it in person, but there's nothing about her that seems imposing whatsoever. And people talk about her evil gaze, and I've seen a million Raggedy Ann dolls. They all look the same.
But maybe when they talk about an evil gaze. Now, mind you, I have heard a lot about Annabelle. I've seen a lot about Annabelle. I have heard many stories about Annabelle. But I wanted to go into this with more of a skeptical mind and think, let me just hear everything that's said, because with a lot of these haunted objects that we've come across, I'm like, ooh, haunted objects, nice. But we've had a lot that were kind of meh, but there's been so much built up around Annabelle that I wanted to come into it not so
I think when
crazy.
it comes to haunted objects, though, I think if we only did haunted objects on the show, I would say 80% of the time, that's always going to be the drawback.
Yeah.
Is that even if there's a chance that let's just say they're 100% real, there is so much legend and story built up around them that they're always going to seem a lot more menacing than when you get down to
the nitty-gritty,
the facts of it.
Yeah.
Because the facts are always going to kind of wash away a lot of the ominousness of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. It's hard. The story of Annabelle's coming to be from Donna and Angie and all that, while impressive, it's one of those things where it's a story passed down by, and I'm sorry if this offends anybody who loves the Warrens, most people don't believe in the Warrens, me being one of them. And they've told so many stories over the years that if there are some true ones in there, it's going to make it harder to believe now. Like when a little kid lies all the time. It's
right.
the boy who cried wolf.
Right.
So even if there's some truth to a lot of these, being that they were so long ago and without actually hearing it from the people that it happened to, it's really hard to make it believable. I think the only reason that Annabelle has become what it is because of its cinematic story. because
Okay.
they took it to the silver screen. It's become a big franchise movie that she's part of, and they created something around this character of Annabelle that is so much bigger than what she really is.
Well, and that's what I think what I was saying, like when we were talking about like the way she looks and her evil gaze, like maybe it's because she just looks so plain.
Maybe it's Gen Z and they just don't know how to play with the old school toys.
But like maybe it's the way people feel when they look at her type of thing that's more along the evil gaze type of lines.
There are some accounts of people saying that in her presence, not just looking at her, but
Right.
in her presence, they get a very oppressive feeling,
Yeah.
which I understand that. I get that. There's a lot of haunted items that come with that moniker of being like, that oppressive when you're around it and it makes you feel weird. I get that. But I also ran into a lot of her evil gaze, not in person. And to me, she just looks like a Raggedy Ann doll.
She does. Absolutely. She looks just like a plain old Raggedy Ann doll.
Plain old Raggedy Ann doll.
Like, and you think like people who think Annabelle from the movies and like have never actually really seen pictures of the doll itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way they portray it in the movies is so different.
It's
So different. It's not even a Raggedy Ann doll. Like,
no, it's a porcelain doll.
yeah.
A porcelain doll that was made to look creepy,
Yeah.
but at the same time looks pristine. I don't know. It's weird. If you've never seen the real Annabelle, look it up. Do yourself the favor.
Yes.
But there is something about it, right? I don't want to get too much into this because we have to go through this at the end. So I'll tell you what. We'll go ahead and take an ad break. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you the rest of the story.
Ooh, okay.
So we'll be right back.
And now, Booze Crew, back to the story of Annabelle.
Now, after that lovely break of ads, whatever they're trying to sell you, I've heard it's been a lot of like man part pills.
Oh,
I don't know how else to say it. And if there are any politics that pop up, like we don't pick the commercials, so I'm sorry.
yeah. We definitely don't.
We're not a big politics house, so my bad. They pay us pennies.
Pennies, yeah.
Basically.
I don't talk about politics. Politics makes me feel like
Yes,
I
I
bring them
know.
to break out in hives.
It was just more like I don't know what people hear on our ads. 'Cause
yeah, but there's such a wide range that's on the list.
we don't get to pick what they are.
Yeah, it's
So,
crazy.
Sorry, guys. Thanks for listening, though. So, the Warrens began studying the paranormal in 1952 and have risen to fame from the Conjuring film series. Throughout the years, they accumulated memorabilia from their cases and opened their museum in the early 1980s. Which, honestly, I thought their museum had been around longer.
Yeah, I definitely would have thought 70s.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the most notable piece in their collection is by far Annabelle the doll in its large glass case. Along with the Annabelle doll, there is a smaller but much more unsettling looking doll called the Shadow doll. And it's said that the doll will infiltrate people's dreams and stop their heart while they're sleeping. Sounds like my sleep apnea.
Yeah, yes, it does. Oh my God.
I can't even read.
It's literally the worst.
Yeah. Come on now.
What?
I sleep like an angel.
You stop breathing in your sleep. It's terrifying.
You know what? Are we going to do this right now?
I literally have to lay there and count to like 30 to make sure you start breathing. And sometimes it goes a little past that.
You know what, guys? Megan's pretty, but she snores too. Now, there is a large man-shaped structure that was found in the woods of Connecticut that was used for satanic rituals. A human skull with a star painted on its forehead that was used for black magic. And an organ that looks harmless, but is known to play music all on its own. Now, even with everything that is housed in the museum, there is one object above all others that has become a household name. Annabelle, with her deceivingly plain looks, is said to be one of, if not the most haunted item in the museum and possibly the world. Now she sits in a glass case bearing a hand-carved inscription of the Lord's Prayer, while a pleasant smile rests on her happy face, sitting under a mop of red hair. But beneath the case is a sign that reads, quote,
Warning. Positively do not open.
It's a real sign. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the one thing that actually the movie did that is accurate. Now, to the uninformed visitor of the Warrens Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut, she looks like any other Raggedy Ann doll produced in the mid-20th century. But the original Annabelle doll is actually anything but ordinary. Since her first supposed haunting in 1970, this allegedly evil doll has been blamed for demonic possession, a slew of violent attacks, and at least 2 near-death experiences. In recent years, the allegedly true stories of Annabelle have been inspired a series of horror movies. But just how much of Annabelle's story is real? Is the real Annabelle doll truly a vessel for demonic spirit in search of human host, or is she simply a child's toy used as a prop for wildly profitable ghost stories? Well, following Annabelle's removal from Donna and Angie's apartment, the Warrens documented several other paranormal experiences involving the doll. The first just minutes after they took possession of her. After the exorcism of the nurse's apartment, the Warrens buckled Annabelle into the back seat of their car and vowed not to take the highway in case she had some kind of accident-causing power over their vehicle. However, even the safer back roads proved to be risky for the couple. On their way home, Lorraine claimed that the brakes either stalled or failed several times, resulting in near disastrous crashes.
That's so scary.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's literally the worst feeling when
Yeah.
you're driving. Oh, my God.
Well, these are more of the, God, I want to call them facts as opposed to the first half of this. It's Ed and Lorraine facts, so take them how you will.
Oh, my God.
Sorry.
Oh, my God.
I'm just saying. I
Carry on. Nope.
The car stuff could be, I don't know. Now, Lorraine claimed that as soon as Ed poured holy water from his bag and doused the doll with it, the problem with the brakes just disappeared. Upon arriving home, Ed and Lorraine placed the doll in Ed's study. There, they reported that the doll levitated and moved about the house. Even when placed in the locked office in an outer building, the Warrens claimed that she would turn up later inside the house. And finally, the Warrens just decided to lock Annabelle up for good. They had a specially made glass and wood case constructed, upon which they inscribed the Lord's Prayer and St. Michael's Prayer. And for the rest of his life, Ed would periodically say a binding prayer over the case, ensuring that the sinister spirit and the doll remained good and trapped. Now, since being locked up, Annabelle the doll hasn't moved again, though it is alleged that her spirit has found ways to reach out to the earthly plane. Once, a priest who was visiting the Warrens Museum picked up Annabelle and discounted her demonic abilities. Ed warned the priest about mocking Annabelle's demonic power, but the young priest laughed him off. On his way home, the priest was involved in a near-fatal crash that totaled his car. He claimed to have seen Annabelle in his rearview mirror just before the accident.
Oh, my God. No, thank you.
I don't like dolls to begin with.
But one just pops up randomly in the backseat of your car while you're driving?
That you see in your rear view while you're driving. Yeah, I'm good.
Nope.
Now, years later, another visitor knocked on the glass of Annabelle's doll case and laughed at how silly people were to believe in her. On his way home, he reportedly lost control of his motorcycle and crashed head-on into a tree. He was killed instantly, and his girlfriend just barely survived. She claimed that at the time of the accident, the couple had been laughing about the Annabelle doll.
Oh, my God.
Now, over the years, the Warrens continued to recount these tales as proof of Annabelle the doll's horrific powers, though none of these stories could be corroborated. The names of the young priest and motorcyclist were never divulged. Ed and Lorraine facts. Neither Donner and Blitzen
And Prancer.
and Vixen. Neither Donna nor Angie, the 2 nurses who were Annabelle's first victims, ever came forward with their story. Neither Father Cook nor Father Hagen appeared to have mentioned their exorcisms of her ever again. It would appear that all we have is the Warrens' word that any of this even took place. Now, the real Annabelle doll, as presented by Ed and Lorraine Warren in their Occult Museum, has long faced its fair share of skepticism and controversies. Many critics dismiss Annabelle as an ordinary object with nothing supernatural at all about it. But some suggest that the demonically possessed doll trope, popularized by movies like Child's Play and The Conjuring, may have been influenced by earlier legends and stories. They argue that the real story of Annabelle is just another construction among those themes. I mean...
It could be. It could be.
I don't know what to say here. Because I'll say it at the end. It's just better that way. They claim that finding supernatural evil in everyday objects allows modern demonologists to see malevolence in any average, creepy-looking object. Science writers and academics have long criticized the Warrens' Occult Museum. They stated that many of the myths surrounding the exhibits may have been self-generated. They believe Ed and Lorraine Warren aren't reliable, truthful sources. Many doubters question the lack of concrete evidence for Ed Warren's supernatural claims about Annabelle. They emphasize that their story relies solely on his accounts. Despite the controversies, the Annabelle story continues to captivate. It blurs the lines between fact and fiction in the realm of the supernatural. And ultimately, it's up to each of us to decide for ourselves, is Annabelle real? Now, author Marissa Martinez on wickedhorror.com wrote about her experience after she met Annabelle the doll. And it reads as follows. As I settled in back at home at my roommate's house, I had just finished eating dinner and was taking my plate downstairs. I remember stepping on the ground, but somehow it felt like I missed a step. I fell and badly twisted my ankle as my glass plate broke into pieces. My roommates thought it was comical as I had to limp up the stairs for the next couple of weeks, because what great friends they are. I would have laughed too. Yeah, I know, I would laugh too. My next step in life was finding a place where my kitchen was on the same floor as my bedroom, hence my clumsiness. Did you write this?
Ha ha.
I looked through many apartments and found one I loved in Long Beach. Although a long commute from my job, I thought it was perfect. I moved in within 2 weeks of applying and was enjoying my own space. Not long after, I started noticing bugs and cockroaches in corners. I'd kill them, and they'd be gone for a couple of days. After a while, it got out of hand, and I found them everywhere. It wasn't just one or two. It seemed like I was killing 10 roaches every time I turned around. I found them in my lotion, on my bed, in my shower, in my food, and in all my clothes.
Ew.
I complained to the management, and their only solution was to offer me a can of bug spray. Apparently, the roaches were coming from my next-door neighbor. My neighbor was an elderly woman who always wore the same long blue dress and loved to stare for uncomfortable amounts of time. Every time I'd leave my apartment, she'd open her door and stare at me. One time I asked her, quote, "Why are you staring at me?" All she did in response was cackle. No.
Nope. No, thank you.
Get out of there.
Run.
Yeah, she's a witch. For sure. The elderly woman didn't take care of her cats, never took out her trash, and had stacks of garbage on top of stacks of garbage. Management evicted her and didn't even bother cleaning out her apartment. Within the next few days, my unit had a full-on infestation. I couldn't even put a sock on without checking it first to see if it had roach eggs. I was convinced something was out to get me, and my dream apartment turned into a dwelling from hell. One night, I woke up to the sharpest of pains in my stomach at 3 a.m. I couldn't stand up, bend, move, or get out of my bed. All I could do was scream in agony. I was convinced I was dying and called my mom in a panic. She drove to my apartment and took me to the ER in the middle of the foggy night. The nurse ran multiple tests, put in an IV, and stuck me in a private room as I screamed in pain. The doctors found nothing wrong with me and couldn't give me any answers. As it approached dawn, they let me go home for a moment, and they had me doubting myself and my pain. I went back to my gross apartment and filed a health complaint. There were weeks when I wouldn't even stay in my own home out of fear of sleeping in a roach-infested bed. I broke my lease and found a place with my sister. It had everything we wanted, and it was bug-free. Just like in horror movies, when something bad happens, the solution is to move. That's always the answer. You move, and everything's supposed to be good. Until it's not. During the same time, I had the flu for 2 weeks and developed a persistent cough not long after my sickness. I went to urgent care twice and the doctors couldn't find anything wrong. They said it was allergies and put me on medication and an inhaler. I saw different specialists who put me on more medications and ran tests every couple of weeks. My cough grew increasingly more severe and enough people at work noticed that they reported me to HR. It was mortifying to try to talk about an illness that I couldn't even explain. 9 doctor's visits and 5 specialists later, and they couldn't diagnose me.
Wow.
I'm not superstitious type, but I was convinced this was more than just a string of bad luck. One restless night, I was starting to fall asleep. I heard a faint crinkling noise. It sounded like someone squishing a plastic bag. At the foot of my bed, I heard the crinkling sound over and over. I thought it was my dog, but he was sleeping on the couch. I heard another crinkling noise and became increasingly paranoid. I couldn't bring myself to look down at my feet, so I clenched my blanket as it got quiet and the rustling started again. I immediately sat up, turned on the light, and spent hours looking for the plastic bag, and I never found it. Soon afterwards, my dog became violently ill. With my excessive coughing, hearing noises in the night, and my poor dog's sudden sickness, I was about ready to lose it. One night, he just got off the bed and shat on the carpet. It was really late, and I got up to clean up the mess and to take him outside. As I laid back in bed, I noticed that my feet were covered in his feces. I screamed and jumped in the shower. I threw my sheets in the wash and put a towel on my bed to use as a blanket. I inspected my bed as I was confused how he managed to soil my bed without me noticing. And everything looked fine after inspecting. By this time, I was exhausted and I had to work in the morning. As I laid back down, I noticed I still smelled his feces everywhere. I buried my face deeper into my pillow and screamed, and I felt a wetness on my face. I lifted my head off the pillow, ran to the mirror, and saw my entire face covered in his crap. So I called off work the next day.
Oh my God.
I couldn't wait to get to that part.
Oh.
That's gross.
Oh my God.
That's next level
That
gross.
is literal nightmare fuel,
That
dude.
is-
What? No, absolutely not.
It's disgusting.
Oh God.
It's disgusting. I don't care who you are. That's gross.
Ugh. Sorry, guys. Sorry you had to hear that. Oh,
I mean, this is her account. I just took this off the internet.
I know.
I told the story to my family and friends who all laughed and tried to convince me that I probably didn't check my bed thoroughly. While it was a funny story to tell, it certainly wasn't funny to live. And over the next few months, my sanity was put to the test. I heard constant creaking. I was regularly sick. I heard noises coming from inside my walls. My eyes played tricks on me in the dark. This no longer felt like a home. I started becoming suspicious. That suspicious feeling intensified when I came home from work, walked into my apartment, and saw it. A cockroach on my wall. Now, as the months went on, she remained sick and plagued with bad luck. And one night after cleaning, she even went on to say that she found her collectible doll scattered across the floor when she woke up. She even started finding cockroaches everywhere again.
Ew. Oh my God, this poor lady.
Oh, dude.
She
This is rough. Now, by the time she left her new apartment, and she went on to say that she needed to change her ways. And the night she met Annabelle, it turns out she mocked her. And because of this, she believes that it brought on all these strange occurrences in her life during that time. So she threw away the clothes she was wearing the night that she met her, threw away all the souvenirs she kept from that night, and even went and got a new phone.
Wow.
She claims everything slowly started to get better from that point. Now, is this a coincidence? Well, one thing's for sure, no matter what you think, when meeting Annabelle, I'm sure you will think twice before mocking things that you really don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
The story was super long. I wanted to include it all, but it would have went on forever. But, I mean, this lady...
Oh, this poor lady. Oh, my God.
And this all started with, like, it was like a meet and greet at this Italian restaurant where I think it was called Dinner with Annabelle or like a Night with Annabelle.
Yeah.
And they actually brought the Annabelle doll to this Italian restaurant in Connecticut. And she was one of the people who got to see it. And she made fun of it. And she got souvenirs and stuff.
Oh, man.
And it was all starting from that night forward. Like her whole life just got turned upside down.
Yeah, just miserable. And like in super gross ways. I'm sorry, like cockroaches and creepy ladies next door.
I'm sorry, I'll take the cockroaches. I don't want the dog crap on the face.
Oh my God. I was gonna glaze over that, but okay.
I'm not. I mean, if you're one of the unfortunate people in this world to have ever stepped on it barefoot, I just imagine that, but on your face in your own bed.
Stop it.
It's awful.
Stop it.
But that's the story of Annabelle.
Wow.
Now, what I was going to say earlier is this. I searched the internet, and yes, that was the sound of me closing my computer because I want Megan to see my face.
When it's open, I can only see his eyeballs over the top.
Just because we podcast together, we barely still see each other. I went into this, and I was like, I knew 2 months ago we were going to do Annabelle for Halloween.
Right.
I was like, there's going to be so much information. There's going to be so much. I'm going to have to really cherry pick. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's what everybody's already heard because it's been part of the movies and everything else. And then there's like 2 articles. And I mean, there's some YouTube videos, but I don't care about Zach Baggins needing to touch her. I don't care about that. I just don't. Go watch Ghost Adventures. But there's just not what you would think there is out there in the world about Annabelle, the most evil haunted thing in existence. And it really put me off.
Okay, that's fair.
That really put me off.
That's fair.
I expected there to be just so much information that I wasn't going to know what to do with it.
Kind of like when we did Robert the Doll.
No, Robert the Doll did have a lot of information.
That's what I'm saying. But
yeah,
like,
Robert was.
You were thinking that you were going to have to cherry pick.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was like Robert the Doll, but I think that's the difference in where like I was willing to say sorry on, and I am sorry for bringing up your name, Robert.
Yes, sorry, Robert.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, there's a huge difference. There is something about the legend and the stories of Annabelle that do make her a very intimidating figure. But why? Because we saw a movie?
Yeah.
Like, why? Because some people told a story that can't even be backed up by the people they told the story about coming out and saying, yeah, this happened. I mean, if it really happened, all right, this is it, right? Donna and Angie and Lou. Okay. If it's their story and the movie came out, and I mean, who doesn't know the movie Annabelle?
Right.
These people would be rich. Where are they?
Yeah.
How has nobody come forward and been like, it was me. That was us.
I could kind of see it both ways. Like they don't want to be in the public eye type of thing because at the time, Ed and Lorraine Warren were huge.
But look at, okay, what about Andrea Perron,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. So she's one of the Perron children.
Yep.
That grew up in the Conjuring house. And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not going to say, well, I guess we did at some point already say whether or not we think it's real, and it's been so long that I can't remember where we ended on that. But she was able to write a lot of books. She does seminars. She does a lot of interviews. Like, she's making money.
But then on the other hand, though, she has hella sisters that were in that house, and none of them
Well, she's the only one that tells the stories
ever
anymore.
want to be out in the open about that, you know? So
That's true. I think some of them have denied, and other ones I think are just, they're trying to forget it all.
yeah,
So
I could see that.
You know, Andrea Perron, I had a thought a long time ago about having you come on for an interview. So I don't know if you ever hear this and you want to come on, please, for the booth12@gmail.com. I'd love to talk to you. But I don't know. There's just a lot of things when it comes to these. And this has been the same problem throughout this month of doing this, is that there's always a cool legend and a story. But where are the people that were involved?
Yeah.
Same thing with the Bassano vase, right? All these people, who are they? How come these stories exist if we don't even know who they're about? At least with Robert the doll, there was we knew who it was about.
People literally wrote letters and signed their names.
Well, not only that, but like this, like we knew who the kid was that owned it. We knew where the house was that he had him at.
Yeah.
We knew who his parents were. Everything. Like we knew everything.
Robert, we're sorry about talking about you.
Absolutely, Robert. My bad,
so
homie.
sorry.
Still my dog, though. Still my homie. Shout out. But I'm just saying, like, there's a, you know what? We just got to get into this. I can't take it anymore, and I'm going to ask you. Questions. So think about it. You have 3 seconds.
Oh, panic.
Is it real?
So now that you can hear all the sound effects because you're not in another state,
I know. I
you
couldn't
know it's
hear
time.
them before.
I know. Now you know it's time. What do you think about Annabelle, the most haunted, evil doll in the world?
Oh, man. I'm going to say no.
Wow. About Annabelle?
You're
You're going to say no about Annabelle?
I am. I think that there is a huge myth and mystery built up around it to build up terrifying stories and to launch movies and things like that. Now, did people think that it was real at one time? Yeah, probably. Or maybe not. I don't know. In doing all of these haunted objects for this month, it has made me really think, could there really be that many? Could there really be that many? I mean, you go online and there is just an abundance of things. Oh, haunted objects, Dybbuk boxes. How many Dybbuk boxes are there out in the world now? And, haunted dolls that look like we said the other week, that look like you just walked into Walmart and bought it and it's on eBay saying it's haunted. I don't know. I want to say yes. I really, really do.
Okay.
I really do. But I think it was for fame. I do. Now, and
Okay. That's fine.
I really want to say yes. But then again, like when we were talking about Highway 666, you put so much thought into things and so much energy poured into the story behind the thing. Can it make you feel that way? Yeah, absolutely. Can you attribute things that have happened to you to that? Yeah, sure. So I surprised myself. So what about you, babe?
Well, I'm actually looking something up right now.
Okay.
Hold on. I want to find something, and I'm having a hard time finding it.
Yeah, I really surprised myself there.
Okay. All right. So this just helps my story a little bit. All right. First off, no, I don't think she's real at all.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you how I think they did it. I'm going to tell you how I think they popularized this thing. Okay. I'm not just going to say no and then just be that like that's it. It's 1970s. Okay. And I think they went out shopping or found somebody with a Raggedy Ann doll. And if anybody in here listening was alive in the 1970s, you will know Raggedy Ann was at the height of her popularity at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what would sell a story other than one of the most recognizable children's characters being possessed?
That's a good point.
That is a good point, right?
Yeah.
So I think they took a pop culture icon of the time and used it to spin a story, because there is nothing that will convince me that if this story was real, either Donna, Angie, or Lou, or one of the priests, or anybody would have come forward
Or
by
her
now.
daughter, it was bought for.
It's Donna. That was the daughter. Donna's the daughter.
What?
Donna was the daughter. Her mom bought her the Raggedy Ann doll.
Okay.
Yes, Donna's mother bought the Raggedy Ann doll and gave it to Donna, her daughter, who was the nursing student.
Okay.
It's fine. Yeah, I know. You tried to get one in there.
Okay.
It's
Go ahead.
That's the story.
Okay.
And you're just not going to convince me that not one of these people would have come forward after the success of the movies, at least the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, the story's been around since the 70s, and it had some popularity, but it didn't really gain popularity until the movies.
Absolutely.
You know, and the movies they're fairly new.
Yeah.
You're just not going to convince me that one of the three have, or anybody in these stories who's never been accounted for has not come forward. I don't buy it. As a matter of fact, I'd go a step farther, and if they would like to ship me the doll, I'll hang out with it for the next year. I'll play with it. I will.
I don't know.
Look, we had a Raggedy Ann doll when I was a kid in the house, and it was fine.
If there's a possibility.
But there's a possibility. It would be like me saying...
That's why I don't like Ouija boards.
Okay, but look. That would be like me saying... I don't know. The rug right there
Okay.
is possessed. I could say it. Doesn't mean it's real. But there's nothing to the story of Annabelle other... And another good point I want to bring up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Annabelle's the most haunted thing in the world, and putting her in a wooden glass case is what stops it.
Yet she came out of a locked office.
Dude, but a wooden glass case is going to stop this demonic... Come on, dude.
Okay, so I looked it up, and I said, when was Annabelle first brought into movies? And the first movie starring Annabelle, or that had Annabelle in it, was Annabelle the movie in 2014.
That was her... that's not the first time we saw her in a movie. That's the first movie about her. Mm-hmm. The first time she was in a movie was in The Conjuring.
When was the first Conjuring?
It was before that. Because she appears, I think it's like in the beginning. Because I think it was like they're in their museum and they show her in the
Okay,
movie.
you're right. It was 2013.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the story of Annabelle existed before that. Since the 70s. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I want to because I've known who Annabelle is for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know,
see, and that's why I was like, I don't want to say no.
Look, if you put Annabelle and Robert the doll, sorry, Robert, in the same room, I would take Annabelle home before I would take him home.
Yeah.
There's just nothing there. And I've said it before, and I apologize for saying it again, but I put no stock in the things that Ed and Lorraine Warren said. The only reason that I will ever give them any credit for something like, say, The Conjuring House is because there's other people involved that say that something happened. Mm-hmm. It's not just them.
Right.
But even the people who were there said it didn't happen the way they said it.
That's true.
So even
it's true.
Even in the cases where there are other people who corroborate the story and say something happened,
Come out and speak about it. Yeah.
they always have a different story. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I hear Ed and Lorraine Warren pop up in a story, I appreciate what they did for everything.
For the paranormal community
Yes,
and
but
all that.
I will
yes.
never put faith into the Ed and Lorraine facts, as I will call them from now on, because they're just never in line with what anybody else said.
Yeah.
You know, so unfortunately for me, this one, I honestly didn't know where I was going to land until I read everything. And it's like, it's the same. It's been the same thing for, what's that, 50 years?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
the same exact story over and over and over.
And where are these people? Where are they?
Yeah.
You know what? Prove me wrong. Donna, Angie, Lou, if you're out there and I'm wrong, hit me up anonymously on any form of social media on For the Booze. I will tell nobody. I will tell nobody that you exist. But just for my, I want to know. If you're real and you're out there and you were to hear this, let us know. Because we want to know.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't, then there's just no way to ever prove. Zach Baggins went there and opened the case and touched her. If there was ever going to be somebody who was possessed and killed by an evil demon doll, it would be him.
He always comes up.
Because he involves himself with every popular haunted thing in existence. I mean, look, I don't like him. I can't stand him. But I'm going to give him this credit. He's a smart guy.
Yeah, 100%.
He's a very unlikable person, but he's a very smart person. And like he's carved his path in pop culture. Like, he's going to be famous. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. I don't like him. I don't like to watch him. I cannot stand to hear his voice. But I will give him credit in the fact that, like, he is smart. Mm-hmm. And he has aligned himself with anything that we are involved with in the paranormal. We will never be able to do anything
without having him being brought into it.
Well, that
or
we
at
that
least
we
that
couldn't
he has
bring
been
him
associated with
into.
at some point.
We could bring him into just about anything we talk about.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it. And if you're disappointed, I'm sorry, but so are we.
Yes, absolutely. I am very disappointed. I didn't know, like, sheer panic when you hit those buttons to ask me, is it real? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm very conflicted on this just because it's been around for so long.
And again, everybody, like, we're not challenging your belief system. When we get to the end of this is just our thoughts, and we're giving you our thoughts and telling you why. If you believe in her, that's fine, because at the end of the day, we could be wrong.
100%.
I could be, me and Megan could be totally wrong about all this. And we'll be the first to admit it if we ever find out that, yeah, we're wrong. But with what we are presented with, the things that we find, the things that we talk about, this is just where we land on things. But we are totally fine with all of you who continue to believe from this day forward. And that's fine. We still want you here. There's room for all of us. And that's what makes it great, is that if we all thought the same thing, there'd never be any need for any of this, right? We would just all believe one thing.
And you know what's crazy? I still don't want to meet her.
I don't really either. I mean, I was kind of fronting a little bit. Please don't send her to me. Yeah, you can keep her. But I still, I would be cautious. I would be cautious just to be cautious, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't think it's real. So I think this is where we're going to wrap it up. Where can they find us?
They can find us on Instagram at forthebooze_podcast and on Facebook at forthebooze.
You can also find us on Twitter at forthebooze. You can find us on YouTube at forthebooze. Some numbers, like I always say, but just look it up. You'll find us. And don't forget, write in your listener stories. We still want them. Super bummed we didn't get one for the Halloween episode, but you know what? We're never going to stop asking. So if you want us to shut up, just write them in. And your listener suggestions, like even though Halloween's going to be past, if you have a haunted object that you want to know more about, or a location that you're interested in, send them in. We want to do them. And look, guys, there's a whole bunch of new listeners now. Can we please get some reviews up in here?
Hey, friends.
Yeah, right. We would like to see this show get a little farther. We need you to do. We need you. Listen to my voice. Okay, guys. Just go ahead and open your phone. Click Apple and 5 stars, and I'll be happy. I will be very happy.
Or any stars.
Or Spotify.
Rate and review.
Or Spotify.
Yeah.
Deezer. Dozer, I forget all the names of these places people listen. Google, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, anywhere that'll let you. Just wherever you listen, just do it, please. We need you. We love you. Thank you. And I guess that's it.
It is it. This is it. So, thank you, everybody, so much for being with us this Halloween month. Happy Halloween.
Bye. Happy Halloween. We out.